Hello, hello. It's Jonathan Parks again with Jonathan's Nature Crafts. I came on today just to kind of tell you all a little something, and here we are in the shop. You can kind of see a little junk in the background, but that's how it kind of has been since we got rebuilt here. And I just want to talk to you all today about my slogan. We discussed in one of the Wildcat videos the slogan, "I choose charity over bitterness," which is something that you might see on a tag on my artwork, maybe see it maybe like this. You might see that I have put it into the branding iron here. Sometimes I might plug this thing into the wall and it'll get real hot in 20 minutes, and then all I have to do is press it down on wood for 20 seconds and it'll make that little slogan come up on the branded into the wood. But today I wanted to tell you all a little bit more about that saying. There's a lot of reasons I've come up with that saying. As some of you all know, and as has been said before, I have autism spectrum disorder. I've been different all my life. Not everybody sees me as different. A lot of people do. And there's just been things in my life. We don't have to go through everything I've ever been through or everything I've ever lived through in life. There's just a lot of stories to it. But I will just say that for all I've taken, it's like slow growth, slow maturity, bullying from peers, being rejected from jobs, being rejected from any number of things, just on account of being something that people don't understand, and somebody who kind of is different enough in their speech and how they move their hands and stuff and how they walk, to the point that some people wouldn't have confidence in them. And from some of what I've dealt with in life, I have decided that there is so much in my life that I could choose to be bitter about. So, as far as coming up with the phrase, "I choose charity over bitterness," there's also that phrase that says that the trials of life can make you bitter or better. Yes, sometimes there will be those times when I will kind of have my bitter moments with people. Sometimes I will just have those moments where, sometimes my temper might get a little under control. Sometimes I just might have a moment where sometimes a little memory from the past will flash back into my mind and I'll start talking about it. There will just be a lot of story to it and a lot of stuff that, for the most part, I kind of tried to avoid talking too much about. There were the years of my life that I wrote these articles called Aspie Tracks, and in those articles I wrote about just all the ways I got mistreated by peers in school, ways I got mistreated by co-workers on jobs, and just, how hard it was at times for me to get jobs. Everything that comes with it. So it's almost kind of like what we see whenever I've looked at somebody like Mahatma Gandhi, for example. I don't follow his religion, but I will say that he came up with that quote that said, "I have learnt through bitter experiences the one supreme lesson: to conserve my anger, and its heat controlled is transmuted into energy. Even so, our anger controlled can be transmuted into a power which can move the world." Even from the time I started reading about him, and even before I read that quote in his wisdom book, there were just times when one day I just decided, I can either be bitter about all I've been through or else just try to show some charitable deed about it. Of course, when I first started putting that saying onto the tags of the audio cassette tapes I was freely distributing of the music I recorded, it was one of those things where I just felt like the phrase really had some meaning, because it's like you're choosing to be charitable over choosing to be bitter. because of what you've been through in life. And of course, you'll just kind of learn over time with all the stories I've told, that with all the things I've done just to get out there and get people's attention, get my name known, and just kind of get people to know stuff like, oh, I've been through this, this is what I've suffered, this is what I've become because of it. There probably have been the moments when I've probably tried to show goodness of heart, maybe in what wasn't always the best or most appropriate ways to strangers, because I've just kind of learned over time that if people don't know you, and if they don't know you well, they, don't have any reason to trust you. And sometimes even the things you're trying to do a good thing by, I've learned that sometimes a stranger can think any number of things by, and kind of in a world where you just see that people just, well, if most people in the world were like you, it would be kind of different, where people could trust you more often. And of course, there's been many things in life as an adult that I've been through. I've kind of been through churches in life where it was hard for people to accept me for my differences, and I've just always had to learn over time, over ways, that there are appropriate ways to do good. And in addition to that quote, I choose charity over bitterness, there was another quote I came up with later on, where after I applied that quote for many years and started to learn that some of my inability to know when to stop things could kind of make people uneasy with what I was trying to do. And I came up with this quote that goes like this: I try to touch every heart that I meet, but sometimes it can lead to trouble when it comes to rules in society. I can have good intentions, but people can still be spooked. There can be such a thing as being too good, by where you can go far beyond people's comfort levels in trying to do good deeds, where by going out of your way. And then the final line of that quote was, that is because a person with autism spectrum disorder does not know when it would be more appropriate or socially necessary to stop. And then finally I concluded it with, I am learning though. So just to finalize what the whole quote means, it really means that there is so much I've lived through that I could choose to be bitter about. But instead, I try to show love and charity instead, to try to make the world a better place for people. Not really try to take my anger out on everybody, but try to control it and transmute it into an energy which can move the world.